everybody, welcome to Excel video 400. I'm Nate Moore. Let me just pause at the 400th Excel video to say, like I always do at the end of the videos, thanks for watching. These videos have been watched hundreds of thousands of times across the world, and I appreciate everybody who's watching and spreading the word. I want to play a little bit more today with tables and just some design features. I want to start with maybe some introductory, easy design things, and then we'll get fancy in the next Excel video from the Table Tools design menu that you get when you're inside a table. If you're outside the table, no menu. Inside the table, you get the menu and design. Let's just work our way through the list. Header row is this blue row right here. So if I uncheck it, you lose all your headers. I don't turn that off very often. You can also turn these filter buttons off if you want. There's a filter button here in Excel 2013. If you don't want people to be able to filter, at least, you can always turn it back on so folks that know what they're doing can certainly do it. But if you don't need to see that, or you're going to display a chart and you don't want the drop-down arrows when you print, you can turn it off there. If you're on an earlier version of Excel, you want to do the same thing. The Data tab, and we can turn off the filters here and get to the same place. The total row we've played with before. If I click the total row, it's going to go to the bottom and show me a bunch of totals here. Remember, I can do a drop-down here and decide, do I want an average or a count or whatever I want to do from the total row, or I can turn the total row off. If we go Control Home and go back to the top, click back inside the table, what banded rows and banded columns are these shadings every other row. So I can turn that off and just have every row look the same, and I can band the columns instead. I suppose I could do both, but that's not going to help you. Typically, I'd band the rows, but if for some reason it's important to you to band columns, you could do that by turning them on and off. You can emphasize the first column or the last column. And the thing you need to know about all of the ways these checkboxes work is they work based on the table style that you've set up here. So let me just check last column for a minute. You'll see last column is bold in this style. But as I change styles, this style here instead of bold is going to shade the last column. And I could turn that off by doing last column this or that. So what I want to show you is these table style options are dependent upon the table style you chose. Now let's talk a minute about table styles. If you can scroll up and down here. I typically use this button here at the bottom and look at all the styles. Well, you can't see all the styles because there's so many, but here's a bunch of light styles, some medium styles, and some dark styles. And you'll see dark may be better for the screen, but that may be awful tough to distinguish when you print. And here are different styles based on the settings that I've checked over here. If I turn off banded rows and turn on banded columns and come over here to the styles, as I hover, you can see what the different styles will look like. There's a light style where we're just kind of outlining the column. Here's a darker style based there. The color scheme that these styles use is based on the color scheme, the way you've got it set up in page layout, and the theme. If you change this theme, that's going to drive the color schemes that you see here under Table Styles. And there's a whole bunch of themes from the Page Layout tab that you can choose from there, and you can browse for more. There's a whole bunch of ways you can change these default colors that drive these styles. That's what I want to talk to you today, Table Styles. Next time, stay tuned. If you don't find exactly what you're looking for and changing the theme doesn't quite get you the color you want, you can create your own table style. We'll play with a couple of examples, some clever things you can do in the next Excel video. Thanks for watching.